Good afternoon YouTube, Stuart here from Clibbery Walks. Bit of a different one today for you. Do you know I love my wild camping, and I have a Fjallraven Abisko 1 tent, and at the moment because of shortages I'm not able to buy a footprint for it. So I thought let's make one and show you how I do it. Bit of an experiment, but it should work out okay. I was very kindly donated a tarp which was destroyed in the first lot of snow we had this winter by my good friend Mike, aka Jock One, and we're going to use that to make the footprint. So the first job to do is lay the tarp out on the floor and pitch the tent on top of it. Right, now we get the Sharpie marker.
Are you still using a Sharpie on the tent?
No, I put the Sharpie on the footprint.
I know, but aren't you just going to get myself accident?
No. So what I've done is mark the corners, so I can then go and cut the shape of the footprint out using a straight edge to link all. The next stage to making the footprint is to actually dry it out, so I'm working on a dry piece of material. I'm probably going to leave it on the clothes rack for a couple of hours and then get the table out and mark the shape. Right, so now we've got the tarp dry. The next thing to do is to lay it out on the table and connect the marks that we made when we had it set up in the garden with the tent on top. That will then give us an accurate shape of the tent. You can see here the marks that were made, these arrows. There's a corresponding set there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a straight edge. The longest straight thing I've got, this is half an aluminium canoe pole. It's not ideal because it's round, but it will have to do. It will allow me to mark a relatively straight line, and I'll connect the dots. So that's the next bit. Have to forgive me coughing a little bit. I'm just in the recovery phase from COVID-19, which is why there haven't been many videos lately. I just haven't had the energy to make them. Right, so under here somewhere is my trusty Sharpie marker, and I'm literally just gonna go and then repeat that on all 6 sides of it, and then we will have a shape to cut out. It's really important when you're doing this to make sure that the fabric is flat. Now we've got the shape of the tent marked onto the tarp, it's time to cut it out very, very carefully. I've only got one chance at this, I can't get another tarp, so I've got to be very, very, very careful. And thankfully, because I've got this nice big table, it makes things easier. Just going to cut on the outside of the line and take my time. We're 3/4 of the way there now. Doing okay. This isn't the first footprint that I've made. Last summer I bought a Snugpack Ionosphere bivvy tent, and it's a great little thing. It's just not really very good if you've got to spend a lot of time in it because it's tiny. But I made a footprint for that out of a sheet of Tyvek that I managed to scrounge from a building site that was an offcut. Ironically, it's much tougher material to work with than this. But with this, because this is for my Fjallraven, which is now my principal tent, I wanted something that was going to be quite light and able to be, you know, taken off and put on as and when I wanted to do so. So we'll see. Keep on soldiering on. It's going to be okay. My mum taught me to sew when she was 80 years old because I've got quite short legs and I needed to learn how to turn up trousers. And I bought myself, saved up and bought myself a Husqvarna Viking Emerald sewing machine. I do like the fact that my sewing machine's made by the same company that my chainsaw was made by. Somehow it seems a little bit more manly being Husqvarna, but it's proved to be an excellent machine, and I've used it loads to fix gear, to shorten trousers, to effect repairs to people's clothing, and it's just saved so much money because when something gets damaged I don't have to replace it, I can repair it. So yeah, it's all good. I love a bit of sewing, me. Now I've got to use the scissors to remove the remnants of the old hanging loops. They're not going to be useful for anything, so I'm just going to snip them off. I never throw bits of material like this away because they'll always come in useful for something. Reinforcing the back of a pair of trouser legs, for instance, that would be absolutely ideal. Now what I need to do is to start turning the hems up, working out which side. I think I'm going to have this as the bottom side actually, which would have been the top side of the tarp, and then I can just work on getting the hems sorted out. So what I'm going to do ultimately is fold them over and then over again and blast a line of stitching up there, which will make this extremely strong. At the moment this is incredibly vulnerable to ripping, and I need to stop that. So yeah, now comes the long and laborious task of setting all these up. Right, so I've just had a bit of an idea on how to get these seams uniform. I found this gadget. It's a cleaning brush of some description, but it's a uniform thickness. So what I'm thinking of doing is plonking it there, getting my Sharpie and going line it up with the edge and line it up with the edge. then we go there, which is our second fold. Stop running your finger over, Stuart. Right. And then like that. Always put the lid back on your Sharpie so it doesn't dry up. And then the plan is to fold like that. And then over again. Now I need to get some weights on here so that we end up with the seam flat. So let's move that there, put my phone on it, put this roll of tape on it, and I'll try something now. Find the edge of here. There we go. This is frog tape, masking tape, and I'm going to just try something. If this works, it will save me loads of time. Okay, so far so good. And what I'm doing is getting into a position where I don't have to worry about pinning. I'll reposition this one a little bit. I'm not too happy with that. And this will just allow me to set the seams up in a very, very quick way. And what I want to do is get that parallel right, just clip in the edge, and that way I can run the sewing machine just there and it'll lock everything together. But so far this is looking like it's gonna work. Stranger things have happened. So here we go. This is my sewing machine. It's a Husqvarna Viking Emerald 116. I've had it for several years. It's quite a nice machine, quite forgiving to use, and it's been extremely reliable. So now the job at hand is to sew up a couple of these seams and then just keep working round until we've got the whole thing done. I'm going to prepare 2 seams and then sew 2 seams and repeat until I've got the whole thing hemmed, and that'll make it nice and strong. Now I reverse it a little bit just to lock the stitches in. So I've been careful to adjust the speed so I get a decent length of stitch. And it's just a matter now of slowly, you don't have to blast through, you can just do gently. The sewing machine is controlled by foot treadle and a foot switch, and basically the harder you push the faster it will go, and I find it best not to wear shoes when I sew because it gives me a better feeling. I feel a little bit more connected to the work, and that's not looking bad. Right, Not a bad effort so far. Right, it's just a matter of repeating now. So I'll switch the camera off and concentrate on doing this. Right, so now we've come to a tricky bit. We've got what's left of this webbing hanging loop, and I'm going to remove this. So what I'm going to do is get the old head torch on the job so I can actually see. This is a special tool for unpicking stitches. So it slides underneath the stitch and cuts it. Came with the sewing machine actually. I think they're called quick unpick tools, but what this is allowing me to do is just get rid of this piece of webbing without damaging the fabric underneath it. So now we've put a hem around the outside so you can see the edge is folded over once and then again, which has made the edge really strong. And now I've got to nip round the edge and just cut off all these little tails of cotton that are left. We do want this to be as neat as possible, and we're getting towards finishing the item now. It's taken a couple of hours so far, but it's been good fun. So I'm just going to whiz round and nip all these edges off. You don't need to see me do all of that because it'll take ages. And then we've just got to put some nylon tabs on the corner, and then we can tie some bungees on. So now we're going to take some of the nylon loops off the old tarp and use them on the corners. So it's just a matter of, I need 6 of these, so let's snip them off. There's one. So we've got 6 bits of nylon webbing now. Just cutting them all to be the right same length. And then what I'm going to do with each one is take a lighter and just seal the ends. And be careful when you're doing this because the nylon at the end will be liquid, and if that gets on your skin it's bloody painful. So just be careful when you're doing this. But what I'm doing is getting these so they don't fray. We've done a good job so far. We don't want to spoil it by cutting a corner at the very end. That reverses the machine. And just take that off, and there's a little blade there for snipping the wire, the cotton, and it's another one done. 2 more to go, and the sewing machine is finished with. So now I've got to go around each corner and just tidy up the cotton tags again, and that will leave us with a nice neat job. Now, to clip this to the tent, I bought these tiny little carabiner clips with a loop on, and each one is going to be attached to the loop on the corner of the footprint with this elastic. All of this stuff's been bought from Amazon. Nothing here is expensive. I think these were £5.50. That's how much the footprint has actually cost me so far, is £5.50 and a bit of time, and it's been quite enjoyable to work on, so it's been a nice project. So the process is as simple as that, and then just tying a reef knot, or a square knot if you're American, but I doubt very much whether anybody American will be watching this. And just, there we go, got a little bit of stretch now, and that will clip onto the little plastic rings on the corners of my tent. So we're just going to show you how this is attached to the tent. So that's our new footprint, that's an elastic loop, and that there is the little carabiner clip attached to the tape, which goes onto the toggle, and that's attached in that manner in 6 places, so it's nice and secure. So the next job is to get the tent up. So we've now got the tent pitched, the footprints attached to it, so it's the moment of truth. Let's go and see how much space it covers. None of it is poking out from underneath the tent, so it should be incredibly effective. So here we go, there's the footprint in place. Not a bad show, I think. Could have been a wee bit tighter, but not bad for something that is a prototype. It's certainly going to keep my stuff in the vestibule a lot drier, and also protect the bottom of the tent from rocks and sticks and whatnot. So very pleased with that. Thank you for coming along on this journey. It's been really good fun to make this, and I'd like to dedicate this video to my mum, because she taught me how to sew when she was 80 and encouraged me to buy my own sewing machine. I am very pleased with that, and considering I can't buy one at the moment, that will do very well. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please consider clicking the thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Bye!